Start with item categories. Okay, what is item categories? Is item categories in generally, whenever you create your sales orders, whenever there's a sales order that you try to create in an SAP system, whether it's a sales order or inquiry, whatever it is, so whenever you go inside the system, like let's take some random sales order. So the header document, you have the sales order type that you enter. Based on that, you come into the system, you will have all the different and again, I'll just tell you, maybe direct transaction code just to remember, but it always, like, path that we went through in SPRO is what you need to know. Now I'll just Vivo V8. If you just go to Vivo V8 as a transaction code, then you will be able to directly go to this sales order types. Okay, Vivo V8, the configuration part of it. Now if I just go to OR or whatever that we have seen, you will have the different controls. So this controls the number ranges, this controls, okay, what is mandatory, if it's division ready to be taken. Again, we have seen certain incompletion procedure, shipping type, delivery type, and all. So this is all at the header level of a document is what it would be controlling. Okay, so you will have the header level, and again, every sales order will have line item details, independent line item details, right? So again, the line item details is mainly controlled with the help of something called an item categories. So now in the next step of our configuration today, what we're going to discuss is about the item categories. So what is an item categories? And item categories generally, like, they control, like, whatever is the line item specific. Now, for example, what kind of a line item it is, whether this particular line item is relevant for pricing. Line item means anything that you enter at the, here, like this is the header which is applicable for all the line items. Every material inside this, if you double click, or if you just select it and just go here, click on it, you go to the item details. Or you can also go from directly from go to item, and you can see the views. So in multiple ways you can go to the item details. So inside the item details, mainly we are just seeing what is whether this particular line item is relevant for pricing or not, whether it has any document flow that it updates, and it controls various elements of a particular line item, whether it's relevant for pricing and so on and so forth. So here we'll be talking in details about now this particular item, whatever you have, is controlled by the help of item category. So you have an item category in the line item level, which controls the different functionality, whether like we'll be discussing whether it's relevant for pricing, if it's relevant for billing, if it's relevant for whether it has to update normal stock or a special stock. So there are multiple scenarios where we will have. So everything is controlled by this item category. Okay, so item category. So we will try to quickly, before we just start with our controls that we have, let's try to check from our standard document what are all the different item categories that you have, so that you'll be again, it will be helping you in terms of let's say to see in the system, okay, what is the relevant item category that you will have. And now for example, if I just go here, uh, if I just go to inquiry, then you have I'll just give maybe sales doc type. One second, I'll give you here the item category. Okay, this is three types that let's try to give. So for an inquiry, you have IN, right? Let me just see quotation, sales order, then I'll give rush order, cash sales, then you have returns, different processes that we have, credit memo, debit memo, different sales document types. I'm just entering here. Then you may have some Okay, these are all the different things that you have. Maybe I think free of charge. Whatever I'm just remembering, I'm seeing whatever we don't have, we'll see in the system. So these are all some of the okay. We have quantity contract also, right? Let's see, these are all different document types that we have. For inquiry, it is IN. For quotation, it is QT. For sales order, it is OR. For rush orders, it is RO. For cash sales, it is you can use CS. Then for returns, you use RE. Then for credit memo, it's CR. For debit memo, it is DR. I think for free of charge, it is something FT that you have a document type. Then for quantity contract, you have WK1, and for value contract, you have WK2. So these are the different order types that you have. Okay, for this standard item categories that you have is, if in case whenever you're creating an inquiry, it will be AEN, and for quotation it is AGN. For sales order it is TAN. Can. For rush orders also it is TAN. For cat sales also it has to be TAN. There should not be no. For cat sales I think because it's immediate pricing, so it will be BAN. Sorry, BVN it has to be. Let me just check. Yeah, it is BVN. So BVN is for the cash sales. Again, for the return we have REN. Again, for credit memo you will have something called G2N. For debit memo you will have something called an L2N. Okay. For free of charge it is something, I'll check it in the system. Then for the contracts for we have something called uh, it's KMV or something. Let's see in the system. Then I think we have something called, okay, these two we'll see in the system. It is something, some WK it starts. But anyway, these are all the, let's say, the item categories, the different item categories that you will have against the sales documents, okay, in standard. So we will see for the free of charge. Okay, I'll not go to transaction codes. First I'll go to SPRO, IMG menu. Just going to the sales and distribution, sales, okay, sales document types item, and we have, instead of you went to header yesterday to see the header fields, now you go to sales document item and you click on define item categories. Okay, define item categories. So this define item categories will be the one mainly it will be used. Before I just start, I'll see. Okay, it's free of charge is KLN. So KLN is for free of charge, and for quantity contract again, it has to be something. Yeah, this is for the quantity contract. KMN is for the quantity contract, and for the value contract, you will have something starting with W. WKN is for the value contract. Okay, these are all the standard item categories that you have. You can, you can copy and create your own item categories as well, but by standard, like, whenever you go to okay, this is AFN. Sorry, I entered it as AEN. It is AFN for the inquiries, and AGN is for uh, inquiry item. Someone has changed this. So one second. AFN for the quotation inquiry, and AGN is for the quotation. You have other document types you can create it, but by standard it is AGN itself is for the quotation. I think might be there's a description that is changing. Okay, but remember AGN only, that is also for the quotation. We'll see if in case AGN and AGX, if there is some difference that we have. Basically, like whenever you try to, let's say if I try to create VA21 a quotation, if I go to QT, just trying, just trying if in case we'll be able to create, I don't know. So if I just go here, it's AGN is what that gets determined. AGN for a quotation by default, it's AGN is what that gets determined. I think there is just that description someone might have just changed it. So it's AGN is for the quotation that gets triggered. Okay, when you're creating a quotation. So okay, now whenever you're creating your inquiries or quotations or the sales orders, whatever you have, so basically the item category gets determined. So if in case I'm creating with the QT, you can see that my item category that is getting determined is AGN. Inside it would be AGN. If you create with inquiry, it will be like AFN is what it gets triggered. If in case you have some sales order that is there in the system, VS03 or VS02, the existing sales order I'm trying to take. So you will have an item category called TAN that gets generated. So this is basically the one that controls the behavior at the item level. The sales document type controls the behavior at the header level. The item category controls the behavior at the item level. And we have also seen some of the examples of the standard let's say the standard item categories that would be there for the different sales document types that we will have. And we also have different item categories in terms of the business scenario as well, like third party scenario, and for the individual purchase order scenario and all, we have them. But we'll talk it when we come to the scenario. Again, with for the stock transport order and all, we have multiple uh, let's say different item categories that gets determined. I'll see, like if in case we'll try to cover it, or we'll try to cover it during the topics when we are there. So now what we will be discussing today is in these item categories, it gets determined, okay, but what is like the functionality behind these item categories, what are the controls that we have, the important controls that you need to know, and what is the main difference between these different let's say the item categories that you will have. Okay, we'll first see the controls that we have inside it. So again, I was just okay, we'll go through the path. I was just telling for the sales document type, we go to Vivo V8 is a transaction code where you can directly go into your for your sales document type controls. Same way, if you want item category, it's Vivo V7 where you can directly go into the controls of your item category. But I prefer path at this point of time. So I'll go into SPRO IMG, and then you go to the sales and distribution, sales documents, sales document item, define item categories. Maybe the standard sales order item category TAN. I'll try to just open one. You can copy and create your own, or can use it. So here is the item category that is there. Okay, different controls that you have inside an item category. So let's see some of the important fields that are there here and what is an importance of them. Now the first thing that you have here is an item type. What is an item type? So the item type basically controls whether the item is like whether the item that you have here is a standard item, or whether it is kind of some text item, or it is kind of some value item, or some packaging item. What kind of an item do you have? Because now, for example, what is a standard item? Basically, like all our regular whatever what we create with tan, and whatever that we create here, the one that we use is basically a standard item. Standard item means it will be almost blank. There is an item category called, okay, if I just go to TATX, there's an item category called TATX. It's called a text item. You can see the item type they have maintained it as B. Okay, B means it's a text item. What is a text item? Text item is nothing but if in case, let's say, when you're like you have a concept where wherever that particular item, if you see, mm, is not relevant, you will not have any billing relevance. Okay, billing relevance is okay, they can just put it for the billing relevance, but in generally text item, okay, delivery related billing document, but in general it will be kind of given for free, and it does not have any pricing relevance, it does not have anything related to any pricing or anything based on the text type that they have. What is the text item is, in generally whenever you buy some product, an example of a text item, you get a user manual or something that gets delivered along with the main product, right? How to use that particular item and all. They don't charge any price for it. It just will contain some text details of a particular item on how to use it in different languages and all. For every product you'll get some sort of a manual. If in case you have such business scenario where you're using something like a text item and all, then this item type will be useful. Similarly, you have value item, just a value item here. So value item means that's kind of an item, like you will have in such items where let's say you are like a scenario where you bill to your customer for some fixed lump sum. For example, you give him maybe based on whatever that he ordered, for example, is like a gift voucher and all. So it's not something like it does not it has a fixed value. A gift voucher, it is 10,000 rupees gift voucher, or 1,000 rupees gift voucher, 5,000 rupees gift voucher. So anything that holds a fixed lump sum amount, that would be that you're just giving to a customer, or anything that controls any such item where you're giving a lump sum amount, and that is a fixed value. Whatever he orders, it will be of a fixed value. Maybe it's a 10,000 rupees or 1,000 rupees, whatever it is. So it does not change according to whatever it is. You just give him a kind of a gift voucher for him. So the value item is basically that kind of an item that holds a fixed lump sum amount. If in case there are such items that you have, then if in case there is a business scenario, then you can use this something called a value item that you will have. Again, packaging item and all is comes, whether it is whether it's kind of just a sale item that you're having, or if you are maintaining a stock for a packaging material as well, then we'll have this packaging item. Whether it's a normal item or a standard item or a text item or a packaging item, you can just enter the different item types that you have here. So for TA, TX and all, because the text item, we maintain it as B. Similarly, if in case you have some value item, you maintain it as A. But in regular TAN, for whatever we have the item category, for the regular items, you maintain it as blank, so that it will become a normal standard item that you will have. Okay. Then you have here business item. What is a business item? Mm, let's say this field controls, for example, uh, whether to you have something like a business data. For example, if you go into your uh, sales order, I'll just go into the sales order that is created. So here, excuse me, for example, you have let's say in your shipping relevance, you will have your uh, what do you call that, where you have your sales, shipping and billing determination, that's there, right? From a shipping conditions that you will have, it gets determined. And from your billing, the incoterms, the terms of payment. From where this is coming from your customer master. Whatever you maintain in your customer master is what, from the shipping tab, from this billing tab, and from the sales tab, that is coming into your sales document types. Okay. Now uh, then this data, for example, this is at the header level that you will have. And again, inside the item as well, you can maintain again the planned shipping point, determination happens based on the shipping conditions that you will have. There are some fields, for example, Incoterms or the payment terms that you have both at the header level as well as at the item level, but it just copies from from customer master to sales document header, from sales document header to sales document item. The same details gets copied here whenever you have it. So let's say now, for a particular given line item, your business data, for example, you maintain Incoterms as EXW in header level, but in the item level you maintain it as DAP. Maybe for that specific line item the Incoterms differs, or maybe for that specific line item the payment terms are different. Let's say in generally at the document level. But if in case, let's say you have certain these kind of business data that you have, if in case if it differs from your header data to item data, then system will allow you to have that difference. If in case you maintain some different value as well, system will allow you to, will allow to have a different business data that would be there. But if you uncheck this, then system will not allow you to change these fields at the item level. Okay, so everything that would be there in will be only in the display mode. If I just now, because there'll be already some sales delivery documents and all that would have got created to this, because it's a pretty old order. But anyway, if it's not there, system would allow you to change. If in case business data, if you check this, system will allow you to change them. If it's if it's not checked, then system will not allow you to check them, but only because the delivery documents and all has already been created, then you will not be able to edit it anymore. But if in case you have just created a sales order, just normally, then system will allow you to, let's say, will actually allow you to create, uh, allow you to change the data, business data that you will have. Yeah. Okay. Then I have something called a completion rule. So completion rule controls whether the status of a particular line item should be completed, or what is the rule to complete the status of my line item. For example, I'm creating an inquiry. With an inquiry, I'm creating a quotation. With reference to a quotation, I'm creating a sales order. Okay. So what is the relevance that you need to control? For example, if it's blank, then it is not, it's only once it is fully, once all the line items are completed, that you will be completing this item. For example, I'll give you an example here. For example, if I just maintain it as a item is complete with first reference, maybe I could just do this in terms of quotations or in terms of inquiries. If I just go to AGN, here completion rule has been maintained it as B, which means, okay, item is completed after full quantity has been referred. Okay, which means, for example, I'm not able to create a sales order because of our this thing. I'll try to create an inquiry or a quotation just to show an example. Slash o va21. Let's go here. Let's create a standard quotation just to explain. So now you try to create a standard quotation for a particular customer. Okay, now you give validity of your, you give your validity of it, you give your maybe some validity of it. Then just go to edit in completion log. Document is complete. Save your quotation. Okay, I have saved my quotation. I'll go to the display. 299, right? I'll go to the display. I take this, I'll go to the sales order slash in VA01. We'll again see we did not come till here. I'll go to OR and I'll say create with reference. Create with reference. I give this quotation number and I copy. So which means all the details from my quotation gets copied to my sales order. Okay. 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 This block. Okay, I think that credit block is there, so because of which we are not able to create it. But it's okay. Whenever you create a sales order, now let's say in my sales order, we'll have our data. If I give the same, let's imagine I copied from the same quotation. We have copied a particular sales order from the quotation. Then you have that particular material that is coming in. Mm, Okay, so let's just imagine, like, we have we'll resolve this. It's actually part of the credit management, but okay, we'll try to resolve this bit later because I wanted to concentrate on what we are just discussing here. Okay, so you create a sales order with reference to a quotation. In your sales order, your quotation might be you have taken for 100 pieces or 10 pieces, but in your sales order you're only taking, let's say, 5 pieces. Okay, you're not taking the full quotation quantity, you're taking only you took the quotation for 10 pieces, but you wanted to make a sales order only for 5 pieces. So here, mainly the control that it is saying is at what point of time the the this quotation will be closed. Here it is saying the quotation will be closed when all the line items or full quantity has been referred, which means the moment you take, which means if you create a sales order of five quantity and all, then you still will have your quotation as your open, it's not closed. The quotation will still be open. But if I maintain it as A, which means you took a quotation of 10 or 20 or whatever it is, the moment you place a sales order, maybe in the sales order you placed only one quantity, but still the quotation gets closed, because as soon as you place some sales order against that particular quotation, the status of it will become closed if you maintain it as A. So you can, maybe you can you can just maintain it A for inquiries as well. If I just go to AFN above, uh, AFN might be will maintain completion rule as A. So which means there is an inquiry. As soon as you create a quotation against inquiry, inquiry might be for some 100 pieces, but the quotation that you're giving only for some 10 pieces or whatever it is. The moment you create, maybe I'll just I think I'll just, this will be the better way of doing it. I'll just go to, because VA 11, because I think for VA 11 and VA 21 there should not be any problem because they're all pre documents. Inquiry, I give to this customer, I press enter, you give a particular material, let's say inquiry is for 100 quantity. Okay, in completion log, document is complete, you save it. Okay, I've saved my inquiry, display, copy, and you create /n VA 21 for quotation, create with reference to inquiry, press this, copy, all the items from inquiry gets copied to the quotation. Now in the quotation, instead of 100, I'll give only 10 pieces. Okay, so before that, I'll just go to the inquiry /n VA 13. If I just go to the document flow, anything, you can see the inquiry status is open as of now, which means it is open, it does not have anything to do with it. Now I creating a quotation here, and I'm creating only quantity of, let's say, 10. I'm not taking the full 100 quantity that is there. Press enter, check for the incompletion log, quotation is complete, save. Okay, quotation is done. Now just go back, now just go to again VA 13, just click on the document flow here, this one. You can see the inquiry, the status gets completed. It's actually, I have only taken, let's say, only 10 quantity in my quotation, but as soon as you take anything that is created, the inquiry gets closed. Or if you want even the inquiry only once all the line items are referred, then you wanted to close it. Like, once all the line items are referred, then you wanted to close it, then you use it as B. Okay. So like that, I'm directly going to transaction code because path I already shown you, but okay. Um, and okay, because here completion rule is A. So as soon as the item with the first reference means with the reference, as soon as any quotation is created with 10 or 1, whatever is quantity, the inquiry gets closed. And again, similarly for the AGN, if it's B, like once all the line items are done, then you have maybe for quotation also, if you want the quotation to be closed as soon as any sales order is created, then you will maintain that special completion rule that would be there. Okay. Again, for contracts, for the contracts that we will have, let's say now we have if I take KMN and all, let's take KMN, you need to understand the difference. I'm just maintaining. If I take quantity contract, you can say completion rule as C. C means, which is saying item is complete after the target quantity is fully referred, which means in contracts it will always have some target quantity that would be there, right? So once it is referred, then it is closed. Similarly, E means it's for a value contract. If you just go to this particular item category called WKN, then it will have E. WKN, it should have E. Yeah, E. So which means as soon as the target value is done, then it's going to be closing it. So like this, the completion rule controls how a particular uh, you know uh, how a particular line item should be closed in a in how it has to be closed is what it will be it will be controlling the completion rule. Okay. Then again, this field again, this completion rule we have something called the copy control. We'll talk about it a bit later. There is something called there's something called a positive negative quantity in copy control. This field will have some relationship with that, but when we come to that particular topic, we'll talk about it in more detail. But as of now, this is the completion rule that you need to know, mainly the main difference that would be there. Okay. And this completion rule, always remember what we are talking about. This is important to know. This completion rule that we are talking about is when you're copying from, will be applicable only when you're copying from one sales document to another sales document. Okay. For example, all these are all sales document. My inquiry, quotation, sales order, rush order, these are all sales document types. So if you're copying from one sales document type to another sales document type, this completion rule will get applicable. But if you're copying from a sales document type to delivery document type, or a sales document type to an billing document type, then this completion rule will not come into picture. It is again a different thing. So the completion rule is only applicable when you're copying from a sales document type to a sales document type, which is from an inquiry to a quotation, or quotation to a sales order, or from a sales order to a contract, or contract to some other thing. Whatever it is, it has to be one of the sales document type. It's not between sales document type and might be like delivery document type or the billing document type. It's only between sales document type to sales document type it gets it gets applicable. Okay. Then you have here schedule line allowed. The schedule line allowed, this field controls whether this particular line item is relevant for schedule lines or not. Okay. Now, because for example, for this contract that you have, maybe schedule lines will not be applicable. And for example, if you take, okay, I did not give you this. Okay, for G2 and for credit memo, debit memo, for all this, the schedule line is not relevant, which means there won't be any. For example, if you just go to the standard item that you have in your sales order, you will have something called a schedule lines. You have here a tab. So I mentioned in a sales document you have header, you have line item details, and you have schedule line details. So whether if it's relevant for the schedule line, whether the schedule line category will be coming in there or not is mainly controlled here. The credit memo request, the debit memo request, the quantity contracts, the value contract, the text items, all these item categories are not relevant for schedule line. Whereas your TAN, your your uh, other, like the inquiries and the quotations that you have, they're all relevant for schedule lines allowed. Schedule lines allowed, if you check this, it is mainly controlling whether you can have the schedule line data in your sales documents or not. We will see when we see to the contract or the text items and all. So you will not have any schedule line there for those items. Okay, right. So again, this schedule line will have allowed will have this relationship with this billing relevance, but we'll just talk about it. Then the next thing that you have here is a special stock. What is a special stock? Special stock that controls whether the stock should be considered by the system during the delivery, or whether it has to be considered as a let's say, whenever you're creating a sales order, and whenever uh, let's say uh, or I would say, in we have a scenario called something like a third party and all, where you or maybe like an individual purchase order. There are some scenarios we'll discuss about it. What happens is, like you uh, so what happens there is, for example, you place a sales order, and there will be a because there is no stock that is available for you, you will go to a vendor to fetch some, or to a different plant to fetch some stock, and to get it the stock in your warehouse from which you can deliver to the customer. In that case, what happens? So you're procuring a stock for your only specific to that particular sales order. So which means it's not a general stock. So you want a stock assigned to your sales order, because your sales order is for your customer. You don't have a stock, you're procuring the stock from a vendor, but you wanted to procure it as a special stock. Special stock means that is only applicable for you, that is only applicable, for your own for this particular sales order, this individual purchase order and all. So there you have something called, let's say, a separate item category called TAB for an individual purchase order. I'll explain. There's an okay, I'll just give that as well. So you have something called a TAB. So for an individual purchase order, we'll talk about this in detail when we come to the topic, but just so again, here you use an order type called OR, but again the item category will be TAB. So in this TAB and all, whenever you go inside this TAB, then you will have basically special stock as E, which means whenever you're procuring a stock in this scenario, you are only procuring specific to this particular sales order. If it's unrestricted, anyone can use the stock as soon as it is available in the warehouse. So if in case if it is there in the plant, not only your sales order, anyone can come and use. But here you're specifically saying, boss, in this order I have a customer where I don't have, I want to procure for this sales order. So I want a stock to be allocated for this sales order. So don't allocate this stock to anyone, because if in case stock is available, someone can get some other person can also get the stock. But you're saying for this customer you are procuring this stock, so the stock has to be reserved. So in that case, you use this something called a special stock, TAB. I'll also give one more, this something called a third party purchase, third party scenario, where you will have item category as TAS. So just giving some additional things, but we'll, when we come to the topic is what we will know more about this. Uh, so just giving you, TAS here. Okay. All right. So this is the one that we have, might be STO, just an L and LN. For an STO process, you have a sales document type called NL. It's between two different plans, and you'll have an item category called NLN. Okay. All right. So, but this is how the special stock controls whether the stock is a normal procure unrestricted stock that you will have, or it will be specific to a particular special stock. E means it's only specific to that particular, uh, let's say it is only specific to that particular sales order is what you will be procuring. Similarly, K means consignment stock, pipeline stock. They're all the stock that are only specific. They're not general stock. They will be there in your warehouse with a separate indicators that you will have. We'll see it when we come to the stocks. But this controls, whether the stock would be a special stock or whether the stock is a normal stock that you are taking. Okay, so that's about the special stock. And again, you have the next field called whether the item is relevant for delivery or not. So again, this controls, this is applicable. This is a field which is not talking about your regular items. It is only talking about your text items. Okay, this field is only talking about your text items. If you want, uh, you know, let's say if you want a text item is, I already mentioned, it is some manuals or any such items that you are using. Okay, uh, if you want this delivery of this text item, because in generally it just gets delivered automatically. But uh, if you if in case you wanted like delivery also to be done, then we will be using, and this is only used not for tan, it's not for the regular items, it's only for the text items. If in case this text items, if you want it to be relevant for delivery, then you will be just maintaining it. It's only for these special items. Item relevant for delivery is not talking about the regular items. They're anyway relevant for the delivery, but here it's only talking about some text item that you have, or maybe the text item that you have, or maybe the value item. Maybe the value item, it is that is something called. mm, no, this is free of charge. There's also another standard one for the value item. I'm just trying to see. It starts with T only. Okay, value item TAW. Okay, yeah. Here the item type is A, and you can have item relevant for delivery. So only for these value item, for example, coupons you wanted to be delivered to the customer. Whenever you have, or for this text items, you use this particular thing called item relevant for delivery. It's not talking about a regular item. It is only talking about you know this particular TAW or TATX, where you are doing either a value item or a text item. Only for that field is relevant. Okay, that's for the item relevant for delivery. Then you have your billing relevance. Billing relevance means whether this field controls whether the line item is relevant for billing or not. Okay, whether again you will have order related billing, and then you know uh, the delivery related billing, all that we will see. But this field controls whether the line item is relevant for billing, and if it is relevant, then then we will also control whether it's an delivery related billing or a sales order related billing. So not relevant for billing or delivery related billing means sales order, delivery, and based on delivery you create your billing document. And if in case if it's order related billing, then you will create your first sales order, then a billing, then uh, let's say then you will create the delivery document. So in generally you can have what is the billing relevance of this. For example, for regular orders and all, it will be like delivery related billing is what that we will have. But if you just go to credit memo G2N, or debit memo. Here the billing relevance is actually C. C means it's order related billing according status according to the target quantity. Similarly, if you just go to L2N, the other one that we have here, again it will be yeah, it's again the target quantity itself there, it will that you will have. And for our TAN, it will be this. And if you take let's say if you take returns instead of this, if you take REN, returns, in the returns, okay, it's B, correct. So it has to be B. B means related to order related billing and status according to the order quantity. So based on the order quantity is what you'll be creating a returns document. So this controls whether the item is relevant for billing or not. If it's relevant for billing, whether it's a delivery related billing or or sales order related billing and all. And here if you take order related billing, if you go to this individual purchase order we just saw TAS that you have here, then it will be F. So in the billing relevance, the main difference between these will be what is the billing relevance of this, what is the billing relevance of the for the uh, you know uh, what is a special stock. All this depends upon the item category that you have. For example, uh, TAS is again the third party that we'll talk about it, but here mainly we are saying it's an order related billing, okay, but status according to the invoice quantity, status according to the invoice quantity F, which means the vendor sends the vendor will directly deliver the goods to the customer. Maybe I'll just explain it in detail when we come to the topic. Let's not worry about this now. Okay. So yeah, so this billing relevance mainly controls what, how the item, whether it, how the billing would be there, whether it's a normal billing or whether it's a sales order related billing or whether it's an order related billing, and all these different controls you will have in the standard. So these are all important for you to know, so that when you create your own item categories in the system, if in case if it's a standard item, what is the billing relevance that you maintain? If in case if it's an let's say a third party item, whether it's relevant for billing or not, all these kind of differences you should know whenever we are just talking about here. But yeah, we'll have one sort of a revision there as well on that. But okay, so this is what the billing relevance that controls here. Okay, then this will have something we have something in your copy controls. Whenever we have copy controls, there is something called a billing relevance as well in the copy controls. Copy controls is useful when you copy from one document to another document. If you copy from an inquiry to a quotation, how it has to copy. If you copy from let's say from quotation to a sales order, or from sales order to a delivery, or from a delivery to invoice, or from sales order to invoice, whatever it is, if you're copying from one document to another document, how everything has to be controlled is what that will be maintained. We have a concept called copy control, but we'll talk about it in when we come to that particular details there. Okay, then you have returns checkbox, and this field will have relevance with that copy controller. So this will have a relevance, and this completion rule will also have a relevance there. So we'll talk about that. And we have here the returns checkbox. Returns means this field controls whether this item is a normal item or whether it's a return item. Okay, so if you just for a standard TAN, it's a regular sales order, so it won't be checked. But if you just go to REN item category, REN is related to the returns that you will have, so the returns would be checked. Same way the credit memo G2N that you will have, then it will also have the returns that would be there. So basically returns would be checked for those item categories where the item is relevant for returns, which means this is not a regular item, the customer is returning the goods back to you. Okay, so because the customer is giving some goods back to you and you are giving some credit memo to him, or he's returning back the goods to you, so you're creating your reverse sales order. You're creating a sales order, but you are actually taking it as returns. You're not actually giving to the customer, but actually receiving the goods. We'll see that concept there. Okay, so mainly it will control whether it will be a positive posting or a negative posting against it that you will have. So REN and all, you'll check returns because this item category is relevant for returns. If you just during the testing for the standard TAN or anything, just click this returns, and you can just test how the system behaves. If you put this returns checkbox for the TAN and all, what is what is the difference that you will get? You can just observe it. Okay, maybe just for our case, maybe if I just see AGN. Okay, if I just check this return, just simply, just for the sake of testing, if I check this returns, if I just go to /n VA21, observe this, the net value is becoming negative. This is negative 35,000. It's not positive 35,000. It's becoming minus 35,000 here. This is a minus symbol. That is because of this returns. Okay, the same thing you can also observe with your sales orders as well. So returns means you're taking, but you're not if you just I remove the checkbox. Now if I try to create a quotation, the net value is positive. There is no negative, no minus symbol here. So this is what is controlled by this returns, whether it's a positive posting or a negative posting, that you can see here. Okay, then we have this billing plan type. So we have already, even in the header type, we have billing plan type. So if in case we have that billing plan type for that particular item, if in case there is some billing plan, then we'll assign some billing plan type in the item category. But okay, as of now, it's not, again, it's a milestone billing or a periodic billing, the same thing that we have seen in header level. If in case there is such billing plan at the header level as well, you will be maintaining what kind of a billing plan in the line item. Okay, then weight volume relevant. Weight volume relevant means if you check this, then system will calculate weight and the weight volume of that particular material during the sales document, when you enter the line item. So basically this will be coming from your material master, whether you wanted to calculate the weight volume in your sales documents or not, it's controlled by here. Maybe for a sales document it is not required. The weight volume will be mainly required when you're creating your delivery documents and when you're doing your shipping, so that during the transportation they will see what is the weight of the products, in whether it can fit in truck, or how many materials they can fit in, or everything will be depends upon the weight and volume of a particular product is what they'll be decide, like whether they can fit it in one truck or how many trucks they need. They'll be planning on the transportation side, that happens in the transportation module. So that is based on the weight volume. So there it is more relevant, but if in case you want to calculate the weight volume directly at the sales document type level only, then you will check this. Okay, then you have billing block. Billing block means, again, if you maintain this, then that particular line item will be blocked for billing. So unless and until it is released, by default that particular line item will get blocked for billing. We have seen billing block at the header level where it is applicable for all the line items. If you block it, then the document itself will be blocked. If you block this particular line item will be blocked. If you maintain it at an item level, at an item category level, only that particular line item gets blocked. That would be there. Okay, then credit active. Again, we have something called a credit management concept. We'll talk about it in detail, whether it is saying whether this line item is applicable for credit management or not. Okay, so basically for your standard, okay, this is AGN. For your quotations, for your inquiries, there is no credit management that needs to be active. There should not be any, there is no requirement of any credit item. Okay, so it is not relevant. For example, if you go to TAN, now here it's actually a sales order, so this will be a credit active. So which means this is relevant for credit management, where whatever you post will go to a credit management. If you remove this, then it will not be active for credit management. For example, if I remove this, now if I try to go create a 01, I try to create mm, 0, is it still in FP32? Oh, 1 minute. Okay, it's blocked here. Okay. Okay, that's the reason it is not taking. Mm, let's remove. Um, okay, anyway, we'll resolve it when we complete a topic. So this credit active, it's basically talking whether this particular line item is relevant for your credit management or not. Whether, for example, your AFN, AGN, REN, all this will not be relevant for your credit management. So which means they don't need to get posted to your credit management. Similarly, your credit memo, debit memo, all this, you will not have this checkbox active. For example, AGN, AFN, whatever you just talk about it. So it will not have the credit management active there. Okay, AGN, AFN, and REN, all this will not have. But the standard items like TAN, uh, you know, the TAS, all this will have the credit management active. Anything that you have, like the free of charge, or anything that is a debit memo or a credit memo, or anything that is relevant for let's say consignment or some returns or some inquiries, quotations, contracts, quantity contracts or value, everything, they won't be relevant for the credit credit management. Only like the standard items like TAN, all this will be relevant for the credit management. So here you're saying whether this particular item is relevant for credit management or not. Okay, then again pricing, this is again pricing. So pricing, you're saying whether this particular line item is relevant for pricing or not. Okay, if you not maintain anything, then that particular line item is not relevant for pricing. So if in case you maintain it as blank, it is saying no pricing. If it's X, then you're saying it is a that is relevant for pricing. But if you go to some let's say some free of charge deliverables that we have here, I maintain some free of charge. If I just go to the KLN and all, if I just go to this KLN, then okay, it is blank. Okay, it is blank, no pricing. But there is something called, you want it to be pricing, but you wanted to give it for free of charge. So you have for free of charge, there's an item category. for free of charge. I'm just trying to see. TANN or what? TANN. Yes, TANN. Correct. TANN is free of charge item. Here, the pricing is B, which means I will give, it is relevant for pricing, but I'll give 100% discount. I'll give 100% discount for this particular item. No pricing means it's not relevant for pricing. Pricing itself will not come. We will see when we come to the scenario, because we have something called a free good determination where you will be able to see the pricing would be there for an item, but it's given at a 100% discount. Standard means the regular for the one that you're seeing. No pricing means it's not relevant for pricing. So this is mainly controlling whether the particular line item is relevant for price or not. So if you don't maintain anything here, then then it's not relevant for pricing. That would be there. Okay. So we have, okay, but when we come to that, we'll talk about, we have something called a requirement field in our pricing procedure. This will have relationship with that particular field. When we talk about the pricing, we'll talk about it. But remember, this is the one that controls whether the line item is relevant for pricing, or if it's a free good, or if it's not relevant for pricing. Okay, this is one of the important fields that you will have, and this has a relationship with something called a requirement, but we will see when we come to that particular topic of it. Okay, then here you have determine cost. So determine cost means this will, this field will help you in order for you to determine, there is a condition, there is a pricing condition type here. If condition type means, don't get confused, we have whenever you go in your sales orders, okay, we will have all the prices will have something called a condition type. We'll talk about it in detail. If you just go here, you have conditions, you have something called, these are all called condition types. PR00 MWST, which means this is your base condition type, this is your tax condition type, this is your discount condition type, and all. Same way you have something called a cost condition type called BPRS. So this is just cost, means what is the cost of that particular material for you. So for you it costed you 800 rupees per piece, and you're selling it at 5,500 rupees total. So which means your profit is around 5,500 minus 803, then your profit margin is 4,697 in this scenario. So there will be some pricing that would be there. So this is a cost for you for a particular product, and what is your selling price that you have, then your profit margin and all gets calculated. Now here you're saying, in your sales order, determine cost means whether you want a cost to be determined in like this VPRS condition should be coming in your order or not. Determine cost, if you maintain, then this field will help you to getting that particular condition type called BPRS, where the cost can be there, like the cost of the material can be seen from this VPRS condition type. And where do you maintain the cost of a particular material that you will have? If you remember, in your material master, when we're checking in the accounting view, we were maintaining standard price, or the or we were maintaining, like whether it's a V or S. You remember, we are maintaining whether it's a the price is variable or the price is standard, and we will be maintaining the cost will be picked up from there in general. Now for example, if I just go to this particular material, just a quick check, /o mm03, I give this particular material, I go to this accounting one, I think it is 1000, hopefully, let me just see, is it 1000? It's 1000, it might have got changed, but here there is a standard price of 557.80, but this has been created very long back in 1997, and here this is for some 2015 2018. But okay, there'll be some price that would have been coming from here. The cost comes from this idea. So this VPRS condition type, whatever will be picked, is based on the price that you maintain here, whether it's a moving average price or a standard price. Accordingly it gets calculated. But okay, this will have a relationship with this here. So based on this, the cost of a particular material gets determined, and based on the cost, you will be able to see, okay, whether you can do your profit margins and all. But maybe the customer would say, no one should know what is, maybe the client, I mean the company would say, no one should know the cost of a particular material. We'll do some calculation, but it should not be visible on the sales order screen, because the users will know what is the cost, what is our profit margin and all that that is there. So I don't want it to be known. Then you will not maintain these condition types. If he says, we would like to see, because the profit margin and all these details, then you will say. But you'll say, no, it's a sensitive thing, it should not be visible, then you will not maintain any of this condition type that you have. But if you want the cost to be determined, then this is how you will be. If you check this determine cost, then that VPRS condition type will become active, and there is some other requirement and all that we will be assigning there. It has to be part of some pricing procedure and all, so many different things. But okay, this will help you to determine that particular cost in your sales documents that you have. Okay, then statistical value. Statistical value means here you're just talking about, if you check this, then the line item, uh, let's say this particular line item will not have any impact on your uh, like whenever you're creating your sales, whenever you're just creating your sales order, in your sales order, whenever you have uh, a particular item. Now for example, you can see here, this is statistical has been checkbox here. So which means this is just, the cost and all gets calculated, but this condition type, for example VPRS, you're calculating the profit margin, but this VPRS or this cash discount might not. You just wanted to calculate just for the stake, for just for the sake. Again, you can control this in your pricing procedure, but it's a different story. But if you want a particular line item, whenever you enter a particular line item, you don't want to let's say you don't want to take into consideration, you don't want the price to be taken into consideration, even though the net in the net value, whatever the net value that you get calculated in your pricing, you don't want that particular line item to be taken into consideration, because the net value should be still zero for it. You do your cost calculation and all just for your internal purpose, but you don't want the value to be taken into consideration whenever you're calculating your net value. Okay, so which means, whenever now what happens, whenever you have, let's say it's some 10 different line items, this is a line item that you have, which will have the quantity, and you have one more line item, the overall the net value will be like combination of all the 10. If you have 10 different line items, 10 different line items, you will get the net value, the total net value. One line item, maybe if you maintain it as only statistical in that item category that you have, then that particular line item will not be considered in your net value. The net value will not consider that particular line item. Maybe you want only for your let's say you have some text item and other thing where you maintain it as statistical, but you wanted to calculate some pricing just for you, for your internal analysis to see what is the cost for you and all. You maintain something, but you don't want that particular line item to be considered in your net value calculation. Then we check this statistical value. If in case you have the statistical value checked, then uh, it's only for the system will not will not calculate that particular value. When you while calculating the net value, that item will not be taken into consideration. Clear?